아침에 밥 먹기 전에 기저귀 책들을 좀 읽겠습니다. The United States. Well, in Navajo, everything is in memory. From the songs, prayers, everything. That's the way we were raised up. Citizen heroes, saving lives with language. Have you ever used a secret language? During World War II, a group of Navajo soldiers used their native language to create an unbreakable code and helped the United States win the war. In February 1945, United States Marine Thomas H. B. Gay jumped into the waves off the small Pacific island of Iwo Jima. The Silo epic, the peril of expertise, and the promise of breaking down barriers. If you look at weather, the weatherman doesn't just look at what happened last week and say, okay, we will have you wear a raincoat on Tuesday because it rained last Tuesday. By the start of 2010, Waze was ready to launch an experiment. He told Goldstein to start running his weather maps or murder maps, and based on these forecasts, issue warnings to the police officers about where crime was likely to explode next. The idea was that if Goldstein knew where violence could erupt, the Mobile Strike Force unit could scramble to respond with their teams in tandem with the regular police. To make this system work, Goldstein had to be in touch with the ordinary police patrols like his own teammate from the 11th district. So they introduced a system of twice daily calls. However, Goldstein insisted that this communication was a two-way interaction. He needed to collect all the live data that he could about condition on the ground. So each day he issued his forecast and called the patrol officers to pepper them with questions. Were particular gangs fighting over drugs? Was there an incident over girlfriend he poured over? Arrest logs. Then he plugged that data into his algorithm to predict where violence could erupt next. Inspired destiny, leading a fulfilling and purposeful life. How to deal with Chapter 12. The future depends on what we do in the present. In this chapter, I'll cover the 9 most significant emotional challenges you may experience along the way to fulfilling your inspired destiny. The 5 essential people skills: how to assert yourself, listen to others, and resolve conflict. What is this single word that represents the polar opposite of assertive ambition? The one word that always pulls the plug on motivation and achievement in a business setting. The word is fear. Good economics for hard times. If you read one policy book this year, heck, this decade, read this other one. In other words, when the rest of the world saw convergence between mortality levels of the college educated and the rest, the United States went the other way. And Case and Angus have shown that the increase in mortality is due to a steady rise of deaths of despair, such as deaths from alcohol and drug poisoning, suicide, alcoholic liver disease, and cirrhosis. Among white middle-aged men and women in America, combined with a slowdown in the progressive against other causes of mortality, including heart disease, self-reported health and mental health follow a similar pattern. Since the 1990s, middle-aged whites with low education are increasingly likely to report themselves in poor health, and they are more likely to complain of various pains and ache. They are also more likely to report the symptom of depression. Better, simpler strategy, a value-based guide to exceptional performance. Why would a company that genuinely cares about customer WTP adopt a shortcut? Why not do it properly? Why not do it all? The notion that a focus on WTP or WTS implies doing it all, getting better by every conceivable measure, is perhaps the single biggest risk of adopting a strategy that is centered entirely on value creation. Invariably, companies that attempt to do it all fail to create significant value because every value proposition reflects a set of trade-offs, a mixture of do's and don'ts, a blend of promise and the letdowns. The elements, how finding your passion changes everything. My academic career had been one abject failure after another, but I loved to act and loved to read. Then in my last year at school, for the first time, I had an inspirational English teacher, Sister Mary Columba, a tiny young woman who had a passion for WB at the East and a passion for teaching. At the very first seminar, she picked me to read a poem to the class, and as I did, the hairs on the back of my neck tingled. I still have never read anything more beautiful or powerful. Had I the heavens embroidered clothes, yesterday and today in the USA. Why did the Americans like the melting pot idea? In what ways is it good for people to be different from another? Is it good for the people of a nation to be alike in anything? Are there any interesting ethnic activities that go on in your area? Masterful coaching. €1 more. ConocoPhillips decided it wanted to increase its sales from refining and marketing operation by $1 billion. One of our basketball coaching coaches, Thomas, inspired the group to launch a catalytic breakthrough project, €1 more, which was used to increase sales in gas stations and convenience stores by offering game-changing products like the fresh bread, gourmet microwave meals, and high-quality wines. The Storyteller The Secret. From TED speakers to business legend, why some ideas catch on and others don't. The Storyteller The Secret. Motivational storytellers ignite the dreams of others with the stories of hardship, heartache, and overcoming seemingly the insurmountable odds. Tension and triumph are integral to the story. They wear struggle as a badge of honor, inspiring their listeners to tell their own stories and to treat life as the book in which the individual is the author of his or own destiny. Your roadmap for success. You can get there from here. The power of failure. A few years ago, my friend Max visited me. He wanted to sharpen his leadership skill, and he asked me to give him a hand. So he came for the weekend, and we had a wonderful time. Max is an incredible writer, one of the finest Christian writers today. As we ate at dinner one night, I asked him about getting his first book published. Well, he said, in the beginning nobody wanted to publish my stuff. I almost choked on my food. What? I said. What do you mean nobody wanted to publish your stuff? Max's prose reads like the poetry. It's beautiful. Nobody wanted to publish it, he answered. I sent my first manuscript out to at least 15 publishers before one finally said yes. I bet some of those publishers are kicking themselves now. I said, Max has published a lot of books since then, and I'm guessing he had sold a couple million copies. When you were trying to get that first one accepted, didn't you ever get discouraged and think about giving up? No, he said. Every time I got the manuscript back, I thought, well, I just try another publisher. That's when it hit me. Max said something that just about all successful people have the ability to fail. You need to learn to fail forward. Public speaking for dummies, a reference for the rest of us. Designing your answer. You never know exactly how to answer until you receive the question, but that's not really helpful if you are trying to prepare in advance. The following general guideline can help you formulate your answer. Keep it brief. Keep it brief. Your answer should be a simple, succinct response to the question asked. Too many speakers use their answer as an excuse to give a second speech. Give everyone a break. If the audience wanted an encore, it would have asked for one. And remember, many members of the audience may not even be interested in the question you are answering. They are waiting to hear the next question or ask one. Money Talks: How to Make a Million as a Speaker. Be very selective about the bureaus. We've alluded to this in earlier chapters, but I want to stress here that while the bureau's interest seems like a sign from the small gods, when we are starting out, it can become an onerous relationship if it's not collaborate once we are successful. Spotlight on the USA. Little Big Horn. In an 1868, the U.S. government said the Black Hills area belonged to the Indians. The Black Hills had long been sacred to the Sioux and Cheyenne tribes. In the USA, the Northwest, which is the largest state in the United States, starting a new life. Both cities are cultural centers with museums, ballet companies, and symphony orchestra. The region has also been called the New Silicon Valley because of the recent growth of the computer industry. Seattle is a major center for manufacturing airplanes. The meritocracy trap: how America's foundational myths feed inequality, dismantle the middle class, and devours the elite. 8. The snowball inequality. Even as the median wage stagnated, social and economic imperatives insisted that middle-class consumption must keep rising. Deep-rooted ideas of national progress create a felt need for each new generation of Americans to do better off than the one before, and rising middle-class consumption remained necessary to sustain the aggregate demand on which employment and growth in the consumer economy depend. At the same time, the Reagan Revolution flatly rejected outright distribution from the rich to the middle class, and the taxes in fact became less progressive. 15. Secret successful people know about time management. The productivity habits of 7 billionaires, 13 Olympic athletes, 29 straight A students, and 239 entrepreneurs. How does this apply if you are an entrepreneur? Would keeping your email box clean reduce your levels of stress and enable you to spend more time on revenue-producing activities? Stay-at-home parent: would eliminating the number of email newsletters you receive help you to spend time more productivity? Don't sweat the small stuff for teens. Simple ways to keep your cool in stressful times. I was so impressed with what he had to say that I began asking around to see if others were doing the same. I discovered that many teens from around the world love to spend time with the elderly people for a variety of reasons. Some do so because the people they visit love and appreciate their company. Others do so for the gift they receive. Visit the elderly. On AI, analytics, and the new machine age. Why every organization needs an augmented reality strategy. Once this basic infrastructure gained critical mass, a new generation of companies took advantage of low-cost connectivity by creating internet services that were compelling substitute for existing buildings. The billions and the practice of coaching, finding your niche, making money, and attracting ideal clients. Exercise building a client to the connection. Be available by email and phone to clients between sessions for question or clarification. Stay open and curious about the client's needs and wants while listening for my client's greatness. Try to see things from my client's perspective to make sure I understand what the client is encountering. Rich habits, the daily success habits of a wealthy individual. Unsuccessful people live in extremes. They eat too much and drink too much. They overreact to events. They permit their emotion to swing in extreme manners, which create great conflict and pain in their relationship. Emotions such as anger, happiness, love, hate, jealousy, and envy are placed on a very long leash, perhaps reeled in momentarily when their most important relationships are placed in jeopardy. They obsess over food, drink, sex, drug, gossip, personal possession, their opinions, their thought, and other action. Who killed the creativity, and how can we get it back? Seven essential strategies to make yourself, your team, and your organization more innovative. They've got to know what the answer is. The motivation myth, how high achievers really set themselves up to the win. Say you feel nervous and intimidated when you speak to a group. Should you rehearse at home alone until you know your material inside out? Or how the body works, fascinating project and experiments that re- reveal the secret of the body. Short-term memory. How do you make a telephone call to an unfamiliar number? First, you look at the number in the telephone book. Then you repeat the number to yourself as you dial to help you remember it. Rest. Why you get more done when you make less. 10 proven method for resting that will radically improve your life. The slumber itself is very short. Your afternoon sleep must last less than a minute, less than a quarter of a minute, he advised. for two reasons: long naps enslave you by their happiness for the whole rest of the afternoon, leaving you unable to work. Manual laborers who engage in violent physical exertion can indulge in the traditional siesta, but the artist needed to avoid them. Explorations in American culture, readings for critical thinking, writing, and discussion. They are doing what comes naturally to the female psyche. The Maxwell Daily Reader. 365 of insight to develop the leader within you and influence those around you. Take a subordinate role. Most people's natural tendency is to take the best place and to let others fend for themselves. All day today, practice the discipline of serving, letting others go first, or taking a subordinate role. Do it for a week and see how it affects your attitudes. Begin cultivating selflessness by choosing one of the three actions from the above list today. Motivate like a CEO. Communicate your strategic vision and inspire people to act. Motivate like a CEO teaches you how to inspire people to embrace and share your vision. Speak with energy and competence in tough situations. Turn challenges into opportunities. Get your team engaged in the loop and tracking real results. Make time in your schedule for sharing your message of motivation throughout your company. Smart growth. How to grow your people to grow your company. Your experience more frequently aligns with your brain's expectation. You feel a sense of completion on the specific S-curve journey you have arrived. Here are three things to maximize your growth. Pause and reflect. When your growth journey is complete, it can be bittersweet. Your next 5 moves master the art of building strategy. Ultimately, I'm teaching them to be accountable to the high expectation they set for themselves. To improve your employees' performance, apply pressure to the point of desensitization. The Power of Presenter, Technique, Style, and Strategy from America's top speaking coach. The next morning, Obama's lead in the RCP average bounced back up to 3.5. A still better measure was a review of the speech by Ed Rollins, who provided his own credentials along with his compliments. I have been in politics for 40 years. I had the privilege of serving Ronald Reagan as his White House political director and campaign manager, and during those years, I heard him give hundreds of speeches, and no one was ever better. The Democrats now have their own version of an RR orator. How to Survive Your Freshman Year by hundreds of college students who did, and some things to avoid from a few drop out who didn't. Natural yogurt. Try to avoid the brand full of artificial sweeteners and other chemicals, and you are all set. Spoon is recommended but not absolutely mandatory. You are going to gain weight and you are going to take it off the next summer. Don't worry about it. Buy some fat pants. Everybody I know gained a lot of weight. Solve for happy. Engineer your path to the joy. Remember, your memories are nothing more than a record of what you think happened. They are open, not the truth. Prisoners of Geography. 10 maps that explain everything about the world. The relationship between India and Pakistan will never be friendly, but why not for the zone of Kashmir? In both sides, it could potentially be cordial. The Insider's Guide to Study Abroad. Get the real story on preparing for an exciting international adventure. You will find the train travel expensive, but there are discount passes available. Air travel might appear more convenient, but bus travel is much less expensive.